All right, number 5. So the following pseudocode is used to determine the admission prices. Okay, so notice that we have two admission prices. Either admission is going to be set to $15 or the admission is going to be set to $10. So under what condition is the admission set to 15? Well, notice if this on the inside of here is true, then we run the if and it will set the admission to 15. So given that the condition is true, inside of the parentheses, we will set the admission to 15. If the condition is false, then we will set it to 10. So what we have to do is we have to analyze what the condition is. So notice here that we have a not greater than 55, okay? So if we apply the not to the greater than, it really we're saying that the age is less than or equal to 55. And then notice that the parentheses ends there. So I'm not going to apply the not to the and because it's not inside of the parentheses. Then apply the not to the less than here would be that age is greater than or equal to 22. And then have coupon being false. There's no opposite there, so I'm going to keep that the same. So I'm using De Morgan's just to change the not because thinking about it in not is more confusing. So if I apply the not to the inequality, then I could just think about the inequality as a positive rather than trying to invert it in my mind. So what is the condition that is going to make this true? Well, that age is less than or equal to 55 and that age is greater than or equal to 22, which if we're thinking about, and this will help if you have a math background, but also just like looking at the numbers. If we have a number line, okay, we're 22 and 55, I'm going to just put those on there just to be, because those are the two numbers that we're looking at. We're looking at numbers that are going to be both smaller than or equal to the 55 and also bigger than or equal to the 22. So the numbers that are going to fall into the category of being both bigger than or equal to 22 and also smaller than or equal to 55 is the numbers in between 22 and 55, which is again where that and in between comes in. If you remember that and is used for in between two values, okay, where you're smaller than or equal to the one number and then larger than or equal to the smaller number. So that's always the in between two values. So in this case, we're looking for if your age is in between 22 and 55, including 22 and 55, and you don't have a coupon, then you will pay full admission, which makes sense. Your price is going to be higher if you don't have a coupon and if you're like regular, age between 22 and 55 years old. But if you're not falling into all three of those cases, meaning maybe you're younger than 22, like you're a student, or you're older than 55, you're considered by these people to be, senior citizen, for example, or maybe you have a coupon, then you would be paying the lower price, which just logically makes sense, right? If you are having a coupon, you should pay less price. If you are a student, then you should pay less price. And if you are, a senior citizen, then you should pay a smaller price. So now let's look at all of the answer choices to see which ones match that scenario. So our correct answer is A, okay? Notice that we're setting here the admission to the $10. So under what condition should the admission be the lower price? Well, that the person is over 55 years old, that they're a senior, or that they are younger than 22, that they're like a student age, or that they have a coupon. Have coupon is true. If either of those three things are true, then they pay the smaller price. If not, then they automatically must pay the full $15. Okay? These other ones are not correct because they incorporate and, right? It doesn't make sense to say that the person has to be over 55 and also under 22 years old. That doesn't make sense. There's no way for a person to be both over 55 and also younger than 22 at the same time. So for that reason, B and C just don't make any logical sense. And then D is not correct because it's not that they have to be younger than 22 and also have a coupon. It's that they can be younger than 22 or have a coupon. So even if you aren't younger than 22, as long as you have a coupon, you're going to pay that smaller price.